Hello and welcome to Web Relates. Today we're looking at the Malicious Compliance subreddit. Our first story is by Mglapla. CEO wants return to office. CTO plays it perfect. I work for a Spanish company. It's been like 7 to 8 years and we know each other pretty well. I've known and worked with the CTO for like 10 years now. He's a cool guy that wants stuff done. Even before 2020, the work from home policy was extremely relaxed. You do you and have things done by the time we need it. We're okay. So when the pandemic came, the transition was as easy as it could get. In fact, as a company and especially on the tech team, we embraced the opportunity and started hiring people from outside the city for a cheaper salary than in the city, but, for the people, a higher salary than the one they could get without moving into the city. I even moved out of the city during that time. Since CTO didn't want to be a sales guy, the company hired a CEO in 2021, an Englishman that came highly recommended and was stationed in his rural house in the English countryside. Looked like a cool, relaxed guy for a while. Once the pandemic ended, he started pushing rather heavily for a return to office, for everyone. He made polls, lengthy emails to everyone about how this fostered relationships and whatnot. He got really pushy, even complaining to the CTO about it. So every time he came to Spain, people that lived around the city would go to the office just to be there, so CEO was happy. And then, one time, CTO decided that he had enough about the whole return to office mandate, and CEO complaining. So on a random meeting of the tech team, CTO said, "Okay, next Tuesday I want everyone in the office. If you live far away, book a train, drive, whatever you have to do. I'll pay, but be here." And so we did. That Tuesday, every single one of the tech team, including people that took a 2 or 3 hour trip to get there, was in the office. Guess who wasn't there? Yeah, the CEO. So, CTO took a picture, emailed it to the CEO saying something along the lines of, "If you can't lead by example, don't push my people to do things that don't work." And we went to have a relaxing lunch and beers type of day. Aftermath. Return to office mandate never came to fruition. CEO was out of the company a year later. We closed the office since everyone works 100% of the time from home. And, to his dismay, CTO is now CTO and acting CEO, and things are going smoothly. Our next story is by Silver Syndicate. You don't want a female to take the lead? No problem. This is a small bit of maliciousness that happened years ago, but to this day it's still one of my favorite stories to tell. So there needs to be a bit of context to this one for you to understand the beauty of what happened. I was in a traditional kung fu school for 9 years. My shifu, teacher, was one of the most honest and respectable men I've ever known. In this school, there was certain etiquette you had to follow, out of both respect for the art and your fellow students. We had things like bowing before entering doorways, always facing north to take off our sash, stuff like that. Keep in mind that we weren't just teaching students here. We fostered a family and treated one another as if we were all brothers and sisters. One of the rules was that men wore their sashes on the right, while women wear their sashes on the left. I am a trans male, and my shifu was one of the very few people who knew this. Also, I present very androgynous. My shifu and I talked about it when I came out to him, because I was concerned about how it would affect the etiquette of the school, and we both agreed that neither of us cared how I wore my sash. So I just kept it on the left out of habit. Very friendly conversation. At my school, we did a traditional performance every year for Chinese New Year, called a lion head dance. If you look it up online, it's both intriguing and hilarious to watch, because it's essentially 2 people underneath a large, fluffy papier-mâché lion. We would do this for restaurants, schools, or event centers. We even got to perform for the Chinese consulate at one time. Basically, one person is in the head of the lion, while the other operates the tail, and we work together to cleanse the space to ensure a year of good fortune for the establishment, and scare away evil spirits. Everyone always loved these events, and it was some of the funnest performance I had ever done. There's drums, dancing, firecrackers, the whole deal. I was almost always in a line with my shifu, because we made a surprisingly good team. One year, we went to this little Chinese restaurant who hired us to do our normal thing. We get there, we set up, lay out the equipment, and begin stretching before the performance. This performance was one line with me in the tail and my shifu in the head. As we're talking and getting ready, suddenly the owner of the establishment walks over to my shifu and I with the most disappointed look on his face. My Shifu asks if everything is alright, and this guy just started in on my Shifu through gritted teeth. He originally asked why I was standing there. My Shifu, while confused, said that I was his tail for the night. The owner said that that was highly disrespectful because a woman shouldn't be in the performance and should never be in the lion. My Shifu, with a now deadpan look on his face, chuckled and basically said, we don't live in the days of Chinese dynasties anymore, sir. This is my student. I am their teacher, and they are more than welcome to perform and represent my school. The owner kept on going off about how it's disrespectful to the culture and how I shouldn't even be in the show because I was a female. My Shifu looked back at me, looked at the owner, got a cheeky little grin on his face and said, "No problem." He turned to me, grabbed my sash, twisted it to my right side, bowed, and addressed me as Didi, meaning younger brother, before turning back to the owner. He had the most shocked and appalled look on his face, and it took me everything I had not to just bust up laughing. The owner huffed, told us to just do the show, and stormed off. And just as a little cherry on the top of this interaction, I went to get into the tail, and my Shifu stopped me, motioning for me to get into the head of the lion. So I got to lead the show that night, and the owner just had to sit back and deal with the fact that he didn't get his way by throwing a sexist fit. The year after, we got hired by the same restaurant, and my Shifu, instead of rejecting it, made absolutely sure that the performance that night was all female students. The owner didn't say a word. Very sexist ancient traditions aside, I find that one kind of interesting because I've actually met and spoken to a lion dance team before, and they also came from a small school, so they didn't do this, say, professionally, but they did it often enough. And they had a female in the lead. She was the head of the lion. And this also made sense because one of the classic moves in the dance is that the guy in the back kind of takes a bit of a half squat and the person in the front stands on their legs, getting lifted up. So just like cheerleading, the women are the flyers, okay? They're lighter normally and the guy's stronger, so he's the base, and then they just throw them up. So it makes perfect sense for a woman to be in the lead of the lion because it's easier to lift them up most of the time. Our last story is by King Do. Serve you a coffee? No problem. I was at my BF's house for a week. BF had planned a card tournament with his friends. Since I'm not interested in card games, I decided to stay in the bedroom, playing games on his computer. I could hear them talking, but I didn't listen until I hear my name. Basically, the friends wanted some coffee. No big deal until one of them specifically wanted me to serve them. BF told him it was a bad idea, but he shrugged him off, saying that it was natural. The friend comes to the bedroom and asks me to serve them coffee, and I say, "Sure." When I come to the living room, BF and all the other boys were shocked. BF asked me if I was all right, and I told him with a big smile, "Sure." BF started to try hiding a smile before telling his friend I shouldn't have to serve them in his home, since I'm a guest too. The other friends were awkward, but the one insisting on me serving them doubled down, saying he was right, and it's natural that as a woman I serve them. The group told him he went too far, but I agree with him. The place of a woman is in the kitchen, with fire, blades, household products clearly not meant to be swallowed. Do you want a classic coffee or an aromatic one? BF has hazelnut, Irish and caramel coffee too. By the way, did you know that cyanide actually smells just like almond? Maybe that's why I never saw an almond coffee. We wouldn't notice if there's cyanide in it. BF bursts out laughing. The friend was dumbfounded, and I just continue. They choose a classic coffee. Sugar with the coffee? When I think about it, the most used weapon by women is poison. You know that product, antifreeze? Apparently it cannot be detected in the autopsy. And that's why it's been used so much to poison people, mainly husbands by their wives. The issues were so big that now we do a test, specially to see if antifreeze is in the body. They choose no sugar. They ask that I change the subjects, so I oblige. Did they know the movie Black Widow? The English title is Lamb to the Slaughter, thanks to users Byold and Rare Bumblebee. A very old movie in black and white. It's about a wife who kills her unfaithful husband with a freezing leg of lamb with a hit on the head, just like a baseball bat. She then cooks the lamb and even gives it to eat to the police when they investigate. It's fascinating how she uses her environment, the kitchen, to commit a crime. Do you want a cloud of arsenic in your coffee? Oh, did I say arsenic? I'm sorry, I meant to say a cloud of milk. Don't worry, it's just a little slip of the tongue because I talk about poison for a while now. Someone asked why women use poison that much. I just answered, that makes sense after all. Some men expect women to serve them and confidently eat everything they made. I don't know why, but at that very moment, the friend rushed to the kitchen, escorted me out, and says he will make his own coffee. I asked if he was sure. After all, I don't mind. I still have a lot of funny stories to share. Is it because of the mention of arsenic and cyanide? Don't worry, I'm sure BF doesn't have that in his house. BF was trying to regain his breath while laughing. He managed to say, I told you so. I got forbidden to enter the kitchen until their friends left that day. I wonder why. I would have made these coffees. I just wanted to share my interest on investigations and crimes. Well, that was pretty stupid behavior from a guy who's probably not 14 years old. You know, I've had friends before mock that I pronounce the L in almond, but I refuse to change that. I refuse to pronounce it almond. That just sounds weird. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know. Alright everyone, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers!